You're sitting here today wondering how people with half the experience and sometimes half the age are getting all of those big opportunities. Meanwhile, you've been sitting here thinking about it forever and no real change is happening. I'm over here thinking, how did they just get started and now they're a total success story? Here's what's going on though. You and me, we're overthinking our way to what I call silent sabotage. And the key difference between you and those successful people, well, they just got started. But that's what people said to me all the time, and it drove me crazy. Just get started. But I had all these questions that seemed very valid to me that I needed to answer before I just got started. And the questions created the overthinking. So you have these questions too. Let's dive into how getting started really can be easy once you tackle these questions and reframe them. So there's nothing wrong with you right now that's keeping you stuck in this overthinking loop. The thing is, you want to get your things in order. You want to understand what is most important and how to, quote, get your head around it before you start moving forward on that thing, whether it's creating content or starting a business. So I want to tell you my story about starting this very YouTube channel because it illustrates everything you're feeling right now. So I had been thinking about creating a YouTube channel for many years. I want to say it first came into my mind probably in 2012 or 2015. And I would think about it and try it. And then, you know what? If you go into my hard drive on Google Drive and you look at all the folders called YouTube, there are endless files, gigabytes and gigabytes of things. Let me tell you what's in there. The first stab at the channel in 2017, when I got my first camera, and I would go outside and I would walk around and I had the tripod, and at the time I called it vlogging, but I decided I was gonna make a channel, and I recorded hours of video. None of that has ever seen the light of day. And then I would get frustrated and I pushed it off and thought, it's not really working. It's gonna hurt my professional career. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about. I didn't feel like I was showing up like myself. And so then fast forward a few years, right when I started the current business that I run now, the YouTube channel and also the boutique branding agency that I run. So I decided just before that happened, I need to get the YouTube channel going again because I need to start creating content because that's what makes us visible. By putting ourselves out there and getting our ideas out there and our thought leadership and all of our expertise, that's what makes people want to hire you. And that is true. However, guess what? Round two, there's a whole other folder on this hard drive of videos that I could show you that never made the light of day. I recorded a bunch of hours of footage and I sat there and looked at it and cringed and was frustrated and left the project after 2 or 3 weeks thinking, I'll get back to this after the fact. And so I started doing a bunch of other marketing activities for the business, and then a whole year had gone by. This was 2 years ago. A whole year had gone by and there was no YouTube channel. I think you have probably got at least ideas in your head, things you've written, blog posts you've written, or maybe even videos you've created that are hidden in that place where it's not helping anyone, on the hard drive, in the computer, or worse, in our heads, not even completely fleshed out. So this is where I was. And now let me bring you up to speed on when it actually happened. So in early 2024, roughly over a year ago, I decided this is the time I'm starting the YouTube channel. And I knew myself, and this gets to some of the questions that I brought up in the beginning and I want to address. Because I knew that I wanted to create the channel, and I knew it was time, and I knew I needed to work with myself to figure out how to get through my overthinking and break the blocks. And let me tell you some of the things that I did. So I knew going in what I didn't like, number one. So all that time wasn't wasted necessarily because I learned in recording what didn't resonate or how I liked better when I said something versus something else. But the problem is none of that stuff was helping anyone. It was all on the hard drives. So this time I said, that's not happening. So I realized for me, I needed to figure out enough of where the channel was going. So at least for the first couple of videos, I knew what I was going to talk about. And that gets to the point that I said earlier, because you're like me. When someone comes to you and says, just get started, you're planning, you're thinking, your reputation's on the line, your personal brand is on the line, if that's how you think about it. And it's like, I don't want to start creating one video and then drop off and not make another one. Or what if this video doesn't link to the next video? Or what if I sound completely incongruent and nothing's making any sense? All these things were going through my head. And that's when I realized I need to sit down and actually think about the first month of those videos, what am I going to cover? And at that time I decided, well, I'm going to do things that cover the area of my expertise because it's a new channel and I knew that there was room to play with some things without completely what they call niching down in the beginning. And so I decided to do that. So one video was about personal branding, one was about speaking with confidence, and there was a few others. That was all I needed to do to get me started. Now, I learned that lesson the hard way, and that's why I'm sharing this with you today. There's not hundreds of questions you need to be asking yourself when someone says just get started. There's just a few. And I want to tell you what those questions are in just a moment because I think they're going to give you some freedom to really embark upon that content creation that you want to do or even that business you want to start, but they all really work together because content is part of the business. So before I share those streamlined questions with you that I think are going to help you break this overthinking and this over planning that you have with your content creation or starting a business, I want to tell you the benefit of actually putting things out there. In my case, this was YouTube videos. So I launched the channel with 3 videos. I'm not saying you have to do that. That was just what I did because I wanted to have several things out for people to watch. And what that did, it helped me with 2 things. Because when things are stuck in our heads or worse on the computer and no one can see them, but we've put energy into them, they're not helping anyone, number one. I've already said that, but there's another thing you're missing. You're not getting any market feedback. So in business, we want feedback. We need data to tell us what's working and what's not. You don't get that when you don't post. When you post, you're going to get that information back via likes, comments, even anecdotal feedback from people in real life that come to you and tell you what they think. That is all extremely valuable. And I didn't realize how valuable that was until I launched the channel because I immediately started getting ideas and I started either realizing, no, I don't like that feedback, but that's good. At least I know what's going on. Let me tweak it. Or I realized what worked and didn't work. I was able to look at the engagement and the views and the likes and understand what was resonating and landing. This stuff's way more valuable because now we're actually taking action. We're not stuck in what if statements of if I launch it this way, will this happen? So that's one really big thing that you cannot get. You simply can't get it until you actually take action and do the first step. And now for the second thing that's so powerful, we're going to dig underneath those business metrics, which are really important to look at another key aspect, which is our emotional reaction to what we created. Because one thing really powerful happens that simply you cannot get until you take action by posting that video, for example, in this story of my YouTube channel. You now see your idea brought into the real world. It's tangible. It's in the 3D space. It is no longer an idea looping in your head. It's no longer something sitting on a hard drive. It's no longer subject to the whims of our thoughts and emotions. It's no longer malleable like Play-Doh or clay. It's real. It's put out there. And though that can be very scary, and that fear is what holds a lot of us back, which I totally understand, if you can push through that, the benefit on the other side totally outweighs that fear because now you can look at something and see how you feel about what you made. It is not changing and it is there and it is at a moment in time. And I think that value is so huge in this process. And when I see people that I work with to help them become visible online, when they actually hit post and put the things out there, that's one of the most exciting things for me because when I launched the YouTube channel, I was so excited. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew that I had done it. And that morning was so amazing because I could start to just let it go and then let myself react to what other people were seeing as well. In many ways, it brings us to the same level or same playing field with our viewers because it's no longer what we think we're going to do or what we kind of want to do. It's what we said and what we did, and then they receive it exactly as we presented it. It's a really beautiful moment. And I want to really focus on that because I think that is what you're missing if you're just letting these ideas spin and not putting them out there to the world. And now those reframe questions that I told you about in the beginning of the video. This is my 4-question framework that helps me get out of overthinking and actually take action, but in a way that for people like us, where we want to plan and think it through, it honors that desire of these viable questions that we need to answer, but without letting us think about it for months and months and years, in my case, and not taking any action. Because it's very easy to let a couple questions start to balloon into 100 what-if statements and concerns and questions, and that is recipe for taking no action. So let's get into the framework. The first question is, Do I believe in what I am saying? So this question is just for you to take your gut reaction, your gut response. And what I mean by this is, if I were just having a casual conversation with someone in my business or someone in my life, and I'm giving them this advice, would it be what I say? Am I changing something just for the sake of how it sounds, putting it out in content or in the market? Or am I bending myself to do something in business that's not resonant with who I am? I think this is an important question to start with because it gives us that gut check to understand, am I honoring who I am when I show up in this place? This one should be pretty quick. You're going to know the answer to this right away, and that's why I like to start with it first, because it's going to help us understand the grounding, because the last thing we want to do is put yourself out there in a way where you're visible, but you're not really honoring who you are. You're not honoring your expertise, your background, or worse, you're talking about things that aren't in your expertise or they're taking you in the wrong direction. So ask yourself the question, do I believe in what I'm saying? The second question, what do I hope this post does for someone? So in the case of the YouTube videos that I talked about, I had specific goals for each one, but at large, for the whole channel, I was hoping that, like with my business and all the work I do, I wanted to show up in a way where I gave people something to think about and I provided a reframe for them to have a pattern interrupt, hear something differently, and hopefully move to a place where they felt more motivated, more inspired, or had clarity to actually take an action. That's kind of the overarching goal of the channel, but within that, each video had its own things. For example, a video about speaking with confidence, my goal is that someone could take one thing away, or at least listen to me for 15 or so minutes and get a pep talk to feel like they could actually do it and take a risk and go out there and post a video, or at least do something in terms of public speaking. So that should be an easy question for you to answer as well, but maybe write down a few things, because this is going to get you excited, because this is what we're in the content creation space for. And even a business that you're running, it's doing something for someone. So let yourself get excited about what it's creating for that person, because that's going to connect with the first question and work really well together to give you validation that's quick and also some excitement to actually put that thing out there, or at least get it started in creating it. Okay, question 3 is directly for us because you are a planner. You're overthinking it and you want to know where something's going. You want to see it in context of the larger plan and how this one thing is going to connect to all that. But I bring this question up because that is the slippery slope, because you can get in planning overwhelm, constant rumination about what you're doing, and then all you're doing is planning and you're not actually posting or creating or putting anything out into the world. So this question took me a while to actually formulate because I had to watch how I actually did it for some of the things that I've done recently. And the YouTube channel is a great example because, as I told you, I created 4 videos to start, but I only launched 3 of them. And so what I was able to do is I was able to say and answer my own question, which is this: what are the next 2 to 3 things that you'll do right behind this one that will keep the momentum moving? Now, try to be as specific as possible here, because we're not planning your entire year's content rollout. You don't need that yet. We're not trying to figure out if something worked or didn't. You're asking yourself the question now: if I were to do all this in sequence and had no feedback from the first one, what would I do? So in the case of this, I post a video, and then I thought, what are the next 2 or 3 things that I want someone to think about, or what parts of my expertise or my story that I wanted to tell did I want to follow in sequence? So that gave me some sense of control. It's not like I was posting one video haphazardly and then putting it out there and being like, I'll just do the next one later. Because that creates a couple things for people like us that are planners and that really want to know the kind of the global view of what's going on. Then overwhelm can set in, because that next thing is completely scary. It can create crazy overthinking. And I've seen people actually do this where they'll launch one video and then a year goes by and they don't launch another one. We don't want to get into that space. And the same would be true for posting on LinkedIn or starting up a business. It does not matter. I'm talking about the action. You want to think about 2 to 3 actions just behind it that give you that sense of control and momentum so that you can actually move forward. This is huge because what it does is it time boxes it. It's usually only going to cover maybe a couple weeks of time that you're talking about in real life. Let's say if you launch a video, you're probably only talking about 2 to 3 weeks of a window there where you're actually needing to think about the action. And the most important thing is, once you do that, then you loosely know where things are going. It doesn't mean you can't pivot, but you're not going in there completely in the dark, not having no idea where you're going next. Because I know the fear that you're having today, which is, if I create a piece of content, what if I don't like it? Or what if I don't like the next one I make? Or if I start a business and haven't thought it through, what if I don't like the actual work? So what this lets us do is, it lets us start to think about it enough so you can vet it in your own, kind of in your own emotions and your own mind before you commit to it. Because I think that is very, very important. And that's what makes the difference between someone that doesn't take any action and someone that just takes really rapid action and doesn't think about these kinds of things. It doesn't make those people right and us wrong. It's just working with our natural energy type and our natural need to want to know where things are going. And this is a way to do that, because I've seen people get stuck when they don't do this, or again, stall things completely out once one thing's launched because they're overwhelmed and don't know where it's going after that. And for the fourth question, this one's fun and helps play with our catastrophic thinking that we might be having, which is, what is the worst thing that could happen if I post that video? So let yourself just go wild here. Write out things like, people are going to judge me. I'm going to lose business. People are going to laugh at me. Just let yourself write them out. And then what I want you to do is, I want you to look at the list and really be honest with yourself and say, is this really going to happen? And honestly, even if these things did happen, it's not going to happen across the board. It's very unlikely to happen at all. And there are way better things that will happen that I can tell you from experience is, you're going to help a lot of people. You're going to learn about yourself. You're going to get that data that you desperately need if you're trying to monetize this or turn it into, build your career from it. You need that data. Those things come when you actually push through those catastrophic fears and actually take the action using these 4 questions that I provided. So back to my YouTube story. Yes, I did feel cringy when I watched some of those earlier videos. Yes, in the second round of the YouTube non-launch, I watched those videos and had an icky feeling about them. And I was like, I don't like how I sound. I'm not liking them. And I had to get up and go to dinner to clear my brain. This is going to happen. But what I know for sure is, if you don't put the reps in and actually take the action to move forward, you're going to stay invisible. And being invisible in business and in career is a nightmare, because those people that are beating you, that is why they're beating you, because they're out there, sometimes with messy information. They're out there being authentic, and sometimes that's scary and raw for them, but they're doing it. And I've given you a way in this video to do it in a way that gives you some sense of control. So you hopefully don't feel super icky about them, and you feel like you're representing yourself well, but you're getting yourself out there now so you can actually learn from the process and get that feedback along the way. That is what's so important. And so something cool that you can get involved in and take some immediate action here, I host a really fun event called the Be Yourself on Camera Action Training. It's a live event that happens on Zoom. You can jump in the description and sign up for the next one. I do them rather regularly. People love this event because we talk about how to show up on camera in a way where you sound authentic. I give tips and tricks. And also I give some people a chance, if you want to, you don't have to come on camera and actually practice some things live. And the group is always very supportive, and I'm able to give you live feedback, and people always leave feeling supercharged and super excited, feeling that they took that next step toward being comfortable on camera. And another cool thing is, when you actually sign up for it, right away in your email, you'll get a video to get you started right away, even before the training happens. That's my Read the News activity, which is kind of the precursor to the action training, where in the comfort of your own home with no one watching, I give you some prompts to actually read some fake news scripts so you can practice with your tone, your inflection, and really understand how you want to show up on camera and start moving in the direction to actually make that possible. So go ahead and jump in the description. Would love to see you at the action training. And again, you'll get that video for Read the News right away. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know your time is valuable, and I'm so glad you spent it with me. Go ahead and jump over to this next video where we talk more about being visible and how to remove the blockers that keep us stuck in the process of showing up. So thank you again, and I'll see you over there in the next one. Later.